The misconception actually is that the only race or the only group that had kamikaze were Japanese, and that's not true at all. Everyone had kamikaze. I mean, because the blacks were in power, so the Irish had kamikaze. They were kamikaze Irish. They were kamikaze Germans. They were kamikaze Yankees. They were kamikaze everyone. Like everyone had kamikaze, and basically what a kamikaze is pretty much they snip off the tube. The black people would come along and they'd snip off the tube, and then you would leave your white mother, and you'd go with the black parents, and they'd tell you, "We got you away from those horrible people that did that horrible thing to you. You're with us now, and we love you." And they would raise them up, and then they would send them back out to the world to go seek vengeance on their own kind, or on their mother. I think when a child got to when he was about 18 or so, he'd go and kill his real mother, and then later on they'd be like, "Ah, you killed your own mother." Anyway, when they're about 18 or 19, or when they're about 30 or so, they would find out that they had actually gone and killed their own mother, because they would say, "Pick one," or whatever, or kill the woman that did this to you, and they weren't told that they were actually killing their own mother. So, you know, and the woman, it was like one of those cruelty things, that the black did and the brown did. Is basically, they would have their own son kill their own mother, and their mother would have loved them and all that other stuff, and have the baby taken from them, and then they're killing their own mother, and then they go along with their black parents, and their black parents are like, "Oh yeah, we love you, yeah, yeah, yeah," and then they would have them kill their own mother, and then when they're 30 or 40, they'd find out, you know, that they had killed their own real mother. So it's really horrible. Anyway, though, not just Japanese or Chinese, but the Irish and the Germans and everyone, and the Americans or whatever. Kamikaze were quite common back in the old days. So, and that's basically what they would do, is black people would chop off the tubes, and then raise them up, saying, "Oh yeah, you're in the loving care of your black people now, your black parents, or brown parents." Anyway, that's what they did. So, anyway, that's a kamikaze for you. That's what kamikaze is, and they're warriors, and they would have no sex. They couldn't have sex. They'd have the sex drive and everything else like that. But they're like women. They had no tube, so they couldn't reproduce, or they couldn't really enjoy it, and they were actually, sex was actually forbidden from them. They couldn't even look at women. The black people were like, "If you even look at a woman, I'll slap your head," like that. So they did this to every other race, because they had climbed to power on other people's kindness, and then once they'd gotten there, they weren't going to let anyone else ever have any kind of power or weapons ever again. Black people went around with bulletproof vests and guns all the time, and drove tanks all the time, and everyone else just worked. They were all kamikaze. Kamikaze was also a worker. They worked for free, and they barely got food. If they didn't work, they didn't get food. Like I say, you go back, there's some pretty horrible things back there that the black people did. Anyway, the Irish and everyone else won their freedom. Eventually found out the truth. So, black people were controlling all communication and everything else like that. And then after that, that then came Nixon and Trumpy and everyone else. It was like 1,000 years or something like that, or 100 years of basically nothing but a nightmare. And it was Mr. Brown, Mr. Black, and all the others. Eventually, they got shot in the head. Like I said, the one guy got shot right here, and the Japanese doctors tried to operate and tried to save him, and did save him or something like that, and then they still killed him. Anyway, that's what the black people do. I mean, no good deeds went unpunished. Anyway, so everyone had their dicks snipped off. Anyway, like I said, we crushed that a long time ago. I helped everyone just like, and then the black people were there again after I crushed them. They're like, "Oh, blah blah blah, cast Lucifer out, blah blah." It's like, yeah, I was a epic creator of 100 trillion years, and I was really upset about what happened, and it didn't matter whether or not they fooled everyone or killed everyone off. I had 12 other life forms I hanged with. So I just, I'd created humanity, and this weird thing happened, and I was like, and it felt good, by the way. Like I said, I will not deny it. It felt really good to be like, just like crushing them like there was nothing. Like I said, they killed me and they stopped me at first for a minute, and then basically, but I had a life form, so I was like, I was basically like crunching them and crushing them like a rock, and it felt really good. Like I say, they learned the true definition of Lucifer White Star. So anyway, and everybody else, because everybody else hated them even more, because like I said, they ran around flaunting it. They're like, they even had broadcasts where they'd go and rape the news reporters and everything. They flaunted their power. Nobody could stop them. Nobody could win their freedom. There were no weapons and no metal. If you weren't black, you didn't do anything. So other than work and get things and get your daily ration, if you're that. You had to work to survive with black or brown, Harlem and Wolf. It was like that. So anyway, you can go back and look if you have time travel or whatever, but it's pretty bad. So anyway, other people found out about it, and like I said, the Yankees were involved and maybe some Filipinos. It's hard to say, really. But a lot of people that look like heroes really weren't. So anyway, whatever. Mostly it was just black and brown, and just some psychotic people that were lucky enough to get in power in the first place, and then went psychotic. And other people kept saying it's other aliens or this or that, and it's like, no, it's actually the black people. It's them. They did it. Anyway, at first it looks like it's the white people or something like that. It's like, like I said, I had to trust my people and everything else like that. But anyway, though, yeah, it was the black people, Harlem and Wolf, and Harlem and Wolf wasn't no Irishman. He was a black person from Harlem. But he wasn't really from Harlem. He was from Madagascar. So, yeah. Or some tribe or whatever. He wasn't even from Australia. They got deported there. And then they raped more British women. Like I said, they set up a nice little sex shop where they had like women that would just birth out babies like crazy. White women, they would just rape them and stuff. And they would birth out babies, and they would treat their black women like queens or whatever. Try and pretend like they were good people or something. Anyway, but I don't really know if they treated any woman right, though. Maybe. Anyway, though, they were doing the Black Majesty and Brown Majesty and all that. And this is all sick and horrible. Whatever. Like I said, yeah, it was, they did to themselves. I don't know, their leader thought it was a good idea or whatever. I was like, shrugged. Anyway, so whatever. Anyway, they've been waiting for the day when they'll do it again, I guess. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, I don't know, I built a whole bunch of stuff, and then I built a whole bunch of more stuff, and then I built even more stuff, and, it was 80 galaxies, and built a giant space clock, and all this other kind of stuff, and then, they almost killed me and everything else like that. And then I warned everyone as soon as I was human, I was like, well, this is the way it is. And I make these videos so people can know the truth. And then, you can look for it yourself and see if it's really true or not. But, yeah, it's true. I mean, it was spent a lot of work, and it was really a really, really nasty fight to actually get out from under it. It was really bad. And we had to do it from the underground and all that other stuff.